The Sixth Sense. The Sixth Sense explores the chilling story of Malcolm, a child psychologist played by Bruce Willis. He's dedicated to helping a young boy named Cole, who makes an extraordinary claim. He sees dead people. Throughout the movie, Malcolm believes he's guiding Cole through a period of intense delusions. But every single interaction is meticulously crafted to mislead the audience. As the narrative unfolds, Malcolm's conversations with others only appear one-sided in retrospect, and there are no moments where anyone other than Cole directly acknowledges him. The color red is deliberately used as a powerful visual cue, signifying instances when the spiritual world subtly crosses into reality, like the red doorknob Malcolm can't open. Another powerful clue, often overlooked on a first watch, is that Malcolm never truly interacts with his wife. She seems sad and distant, but this unusual dynamic is never directly questioned until the film's climactic reveal. The biggest clue, woven seamlessly into the fabric of the story, is Malcolm's consistent detachment and the subtle ways others seem to ignore him. The twist, delivered in the final, breathtaking reveal, is that Malcolm was dead the entire time, having been killed in the opening scene. The brilliance of the plot's structure lies in how every scene supports this truth. Upon rewatching, it's not just a shocking surprise, it redefines the entire narrative. M. Night Shyamalan meticulously planned every detail, making the twist feel earned, not forced. It's a masterclass in misdirection, built on pure logic, subtle visual cues, and powerful emotional manipulation. Knives Out. Knives Out kicks off with the apparent suicide of wealthy novelist Harlan Thrombey. However, Detective Benoit Blanc is called in, suspecting foul play. Blanc interviews the large, scheming Thrombey family, each a potential suspect. The first twist seems to solve the mystery early. Harlan's kind nurse, Marta, accidentally gives him a lethal dose of medication. To protect her, Harlan orchestrates his own suicide and tells Marta how to cover her tracks. We then follow Marta as she frantically tries to maintain the deception, constantly on edge because she physically vomits when she lies. But this truth is itself a clever misdirection. The real twist reveals that Ransom, Harlan's entitled grandson, had actually tampered with the medication bottles, intending to frame Marta for Harlan's murder after learning she was left Harlan's entire fortune. Ransom's plan backfires when Marta correctly administers the medicine by feel, proving Harlan's death was still a suicide, but one prompted by Ransom's malicious act. Ransom's guilt is fully exposed when he confesses his actions, thinking he has outsmarted Marta, only to be outsmarted himself. Prisoners. Prisoners begins with Keller Dover's daughter and her friend vanishing. Convinced the police aren't doing enough, and suspecting Alex Jones, a mentally impaired man, Keller kidnaps and tortures him for answers. The first twist reveals Alex was a past victim himself, brainwashed by the real abductors. The ultimate, chilling twist is that Holly Jones, Alex's aunt, is the true mastermind. Driven by a twisted ideology, she kidnaps children to make parents lose faith. The mazes seen throughout the film are literal traps she uses. The film ends ambiguously with Keller trapped in a hidden pit on Holly's property, his faint whistle potentially heard by Detective Loki. Fight Club. Fight Club follows an insomniac narrator, Edward Norton, stuck in a monotonous corporate life. He meets Tyler Durden, Brad Pitt, a charismatic anarchist, and together they form Fight Club, an underground bare-knuckle group. As Fight Club escalates into Project Mayhem, a violent anti-corporate movement, the narrator grows alarmed by Tyler's extreme actions. The mind-bending twist is that Tyler Durden doesn't exist. He's the narrator's alter ego, a projection of his own fragmented psyche. Clues are subtly scattered, Tyler appearing in subliminal flashes, others reacting to the narrator as if he's both, and Marla Singer only seeing one man. The twist completely reframes the movie as a psychological struggle with mental illness and identity, turning the external fight into an internal battle for sanity. The Prestige. The Prestige follows rival magicians Robert Angier and Alfred Borden, whose bitter feud intensifies after a tragic stage accident. Angier becomes obsessed with uncovering the secret to Borden's seemingly impossible transported man trick, where Borden disappears and instantly reappears across the stage. Angier's desperate search leads him to employ Nikola Tesla's machine, which creates a duplicate of him each time he performs, meaning one version lives and the other dies. The first major twist reveals Borden's secret. He is not one man, but identical twin brothers living a single shared identity. They alternate playing Borden and his stage double, Fallon, keeping their true existences secret even from their wives. This explains how he performs the transported man without a duplicate machine. The ultimate, darker twist exposes Angier's method. He does use Tesla's duplication machine, but each night, the duplicate is the one who steps out to take the applause, while the original Angier falls into a hidden tank of water and drowns. The Angier we follow for much of the film is a new duplicate created each night, meaning he sacrifices a version of himself every single performance. Memento. Memento follows Leonard Shelby, a man suffering from anterograde amnesia, meaning he cannot form new memories. He's on a relentless quest to find the person who murdered his wife, relying solely on an intricate system of tattoos, handwritten notes, and Polaroid photographs to track clues and piece together fragmented truths. The film is told in reverse chronological order, thrusting the audience into Leonard's disorienting perception of time, where each scene pulls us further back into the past. Leonard trusts no one except his own meticulous system, but the devastating twist reveals that his system is fundamentally flawed because Leonard himself is an unreliable narrator. He already found and killed the real attacker, John G., long ago, but his memory condition prevented him from retaining that resolution. The ultimate, shocking revelation is that Leonard deliberately created a new mystery for himself. Teddy, his supposed friend and assistant, tries to tell him the truth, that the real killer is dead and Leonard has been chasing ghosts. However, Leonard, unable to cope with a life without purpose, chooses to forget this truth. He intentionally writes down false information and manipulates his own clues to frame Teddy, creating a new John G. for his future self to hunt, thereby perpetuating his mission indefinitely. Sleuth, 1972, begins with famous, wealthy mystery novelist Andrew Wyke inviting his wife's lover, the suave but struggling hairdresser Milo Tyndall, to his elaborate country estate. Wyke, a connoisseur of games and puzzles, proposes a seemingly clever scheme. Milo should steal Wyke's jewels, which are insured, allowing Wyke to collect the insurance money and Milo to keep his wife. What initially appears to be a sophisticated, though unsettling, game turns increasingly sinister. Wyke humiliates Milo, mocks his social status, and reveals his disdain. The heist becomes a psychological cat-and-mouse game filled with elaborate traps and staged scenarios designed by Wyke to torment Milo. As the game progresses, Wyke pulls a gun, seemingly shooting Milo dead, creating an elaborate crime scene. The first twist reveals that Milo isn't dead. Wyke merely staged a fake murder using special effects and costumes as part of an even more elaborate, humiliating prank. Milo, furious, leaves the estate, seemingly ending the terrifying game. However, the ultimate and shocking twist comes later. Milo returns, disguised as a police inspector named Inspector Doppler, investigating Wyke for the supposed murder of Milo Tyndall. He systematically gathers evidence and begins to psychologically torment Wyke, mirroring Wyke's earlier actions. The tension escalates to a deadly climax. It is then revealed that the Inspector Doppler character is also part of a second, even more intricate game staged by Milo to exact revenge on Wyke. Milo forces Wyke into a dangerous situation where Wyke's life is genuinely at risk. No Way Out. No Way Out centers on Tom Farrell, Kevin Costner, a charismatic Navy lieutenant commander, who begins a passionate affair with Susan Atwell, Sean Young. Unbeknownst to Tom, Susan is also the mistress of his powerful superior, Secretary of Defense David Bryce, Gene Hackman. When Bryce accidentally kills Susan during an argument, he and his loyal aide, Scott Pritchard, meticulously stage the scene to look like a Soviet spy committed the murder. A massive internal manhunt is launched within the Pentagon for this supposed spy, whose description, an unknown man seen with Susan, perfectly matches Tom. Tom finds himself in a terrifying predicament. He is the prime suspect, forced to hide his connection to Susan while desperately trying to uncover the real killer and clear his name from within the very investigation that targets him. The film builds intense suspense as Tom uses his insider knowledge and cunning to evade capture, manipulate evidence, and piece together clues that point towards Bryce. He navigates the complex Pentagon, narrowly avoiding detection while relentlessly pursuing the truth. The shocking twist arrives in the film's final moments, after Tom seemingly exposes Bryce and Pritchard, leading to the revelation of Susan's true killer. A pivotal scene occurs. Tom enters a house, and as he walks past the mirror, his demeanor changes. He then begins speaking fluent Russian into a hidden recorder, revealing his true identity. He is actually a deep-cover KGB sleeper agent named Yuri. Gone Girl. Gone Girl begins with Nick Dunn reporting his beautiful and seemingly perfect wife, Amy, missing on their 5th wedding anniversary. The police investigation quickly turns suspicious, and as the media descends, Nick is painted as the prime suspect, with every clue seemingly pointing to his guilt in her murder. The public narrative portrays him as a manipulative, unfaithful husband, and Amy is the amazing Amy from her parents' popular children's book series. However, a major twist occurs roughly halfway through the film, completely flipping the narrative on its head. Amy is not missing or dead. She faked her own disappearance to frame Nick as an elaborate act of revenge for his infidelity and their unhappy marriage. Amy, a master manipulator, meticulously planned every detail of her disappearance. She planted fake evidence, forged diary entries to depict Nick as abusive, and even self-inflicted injuries to support her fabricated story of being kidnapped and abused. Her initial plan was to vanish, fake her own suicide, have her body found, and ensure Nick would be executed for her murder. But when her carefully stashed money is stolen, Amy is forced to improvise and change her plans. She then manipulates her way back into public view by staging a violent escape from a former obsessed boyfriend, Desi Collins, whom she then brutally murders to sell her new story of being a kidnapping victim. She returns to Nick, playing the traumatized survivor, and with the media and public opinion firmly on her side, forces him into a chillingly inescapable marriage. Shutter Island. Shutter Island opens with U.S. Marshal Teddy Daniels, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Chuck All, Mark Ruffalo, investigating a patient's disappearance from a remote asylum. Teddy quickly suspects a conspiracy of unethical experiments, fueled by his own haunting visions of his deceased wife and war trauma. The film builds intense paranoia as Teddy finds cryptic clues and staff seem evasive, especially regarding a patient named Andrew Letties, whom Teddy blames for his wife's death. The shocking twist reveals that Teddy Daniels is not a marshal. He is Andrew Letties, a patient committed to the asylum for murdering his wife after she drowned their children. The entire investigation was an elaborate role-play therapy, orchestrated by Dr. Cawley, Ben Kingsley, and Dr. Sheehan, who is actually Chuck, to force him to confront his delusion. All the clues were either products of his mind or part of the therapy. House at the end of the street. Alyssa, Jennifer Lawrence, moves with her mother next door to a house where a double murder occurred years ago, committed by the daughter, Carrie Ann, who then vanished. Alyssa is drawn to the surviving son, Ryan, Max Theriot. Despite warnings, Ryan claims Carrie Ann died, but his story shifts. Alyssa suspects he's hiding his mentally ill sister. The shocking twist reveals that the real Carrie Ann died accidentally years ago, and Ryan's parents covered it up. After their death, Ryan, unable to cope, has been kidnapping other young women and forcing them to impersonate Carrie Ann, keeping them locked in his basement. Inception. Inception follows Dom Cobb, Leonardo DiCaprio, an extractor who steals information by entering people's dreams. Haunted by his wife's death and unable to see his children, Cobb is offered a chance to return home if he can perform Inception, planting an idea in a target's mind. Cobb assembles a team to dive into multi-layered dreams to plant the idea in Robert Fisher's mind. Throughout the mission, Cobb's deceased wife, Mal, appears as a dangerous projection, threatening to derail their efforts. The film builds complex dream layers and rules, with kicks to wake up. The primary twist is the pervasive ambiguity surrounding the ending. Cobb finally returns home to his children and spins his totem, a top that spins indefinitely in a dream. He walks away without waiting to see if it topples, and the camera lingers as the top continues to spin, wobbling slightly just before the credits. Mr. Brooks. Mr. Brooks is a dark psychological thriller that delves into the double life of Earl Brooks, a successful businessman and loving family man who secretly harbors a chilling alter ego as a serial killer known as the Thumbprint Killer. Calm, composed, and admired by society, Brooks battles an uncontrollable addiction to murder, personified by his imaginary companion Marshall, a sinister voice in his mind who fuels his bloodlust and mocks his attempts at self-control. After years of staying clean, Brooks gives in to temptation and commits another meticulously planned murder, only to be unknowingly photographed by a voyeur named Mr. Smith. Instead of turning him in, Smith blackmails Brooks, not for money, but for the thrill of joining him in a real kill. As Brooks gets entangled in this dangerous new alliance, he must also deal with a determined detective hot on his trail and his own daughter, who may have inherited his dark urges. The film masterfully explores the themes of duality, addiction, guilt, and legacy, painting Mr. Brooks as both a cold-blooded killer and a man tormented by his inner demons, making the audience question how far a person can go to hide their true nature beneath a perfect mask. The Mist. The Mist is a gripping psychological horror thriller set in a small town suddenly engulfed by a mysterious, unnatural mist that traps a group of people inside a supermarket. As monstrous creatures lurking in the fog begin picking people off one by one, the real horror unfolds inside, where fear, paranoia, and desperation take over. The story follows David Drayton, a father trying to protect his young son while tensions rise among the trapped survivors. Some turn to reason, others to blind religious fanaticism led by the terrifying Mrs. Carmody, who claims the mist is divine punishment. As society inside the store collapses, David leads a small group in a desperate escape, but the film ends with one of the most shocking and heartbreaking twists in horror history. After believing all hope is lost and making a devastating choice to spare his group from a worse fate, David discovers the mist was clearing, and rescue had arrived. The Mist isn't just about monsters in the fog, it's a brutal study of human nature under extreme fear, where the greatest threat may not come from outside, but from within. Primal Fear. Primal Fear is a masterfully crafted courtroom thriller that keeps you guessing until the final seconds. The story follows high-profile defense attorney Martin Vale, played by Richard Gere, who takes on the seemingly hopeless case of a shy, stuttering altar boy named Aaron Stampler, Edward Norton in a breakout role, accused of brutally murdering a respected archbishop. As Vale digs deeper, he uncovers layers of abuse, corruption, and hidden agendas within the church, but nothing prepares him for what lies beneath Aaron's timid surface. The case becomes even more complex when Aaron exhibits signs of a second, violent personality named Roy, leading to a battle over whether Aaron is mentally ill or faking it. The courtroom scenes are intense, the mind games razor sharp, but it's the final twist that leaves you stunned. After convincing everyone he suffers from dissociative identity disorder, Aaron chillingly reveals to Vale, with a smug smile, that Roy was real, but the stuttering, innocent Aaron was the act all along. Primal Fear is not just a legal drama, it's a haunting exploration of manipulation, morality, and how sometimes, evil wears the most innocent face. The Game. The Game is a mind-bending psychological thriller that pulls both its main character and the audience into a spiral of paranoia and suspense. The story centers on Nicholas Van Orton, Michael Douglas, a wealthy but emotionally distant investment banker whose life runs with clinical precision, until his estranged brother, Conrad, gives him a mysterious birthday gift, a ticket to participate in a game by a company called CRS, Consumer Recreation Services. At first, it seems like a harmless experience, but soon Nicholas finds his life unraveling. His bank accounts are emptied, he's framed for crimes, hunted, betrayed, and pushed to the brink of insanity. He can't tell what's real and what's part of the game. Everyone around him might be actors, or enemies. The suspense builds as Nicholas descends into chaos, until finally, he's driven to what seems like a tragic end, only to discover it was all part of the game, designed to break down his emotional walls and make him appreciate life. The film's genius lies in how it manipulates both Nicholas and the viewer, leaving you questioning what's real, what's staged, and how well you truly know yourself when the rules are taken away. Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes is a sci-fi masterpiece that flips human superiority on its head, blending adventure, philosophy, and a haunting twist that still echoes decades later. The story follows George Taylor, Charlton Heston, an American astronaut who crash lands on a strange planet after years of space travel. He soon discovers a bizarre world where intelligent apes rule as the dominant species, and humans are mute, primitive, and enslaved. Captured and caged like an animal, Taylor must fight not only for survival but also to prove his intelligence. As he befriends a few sympathetic chimpanzees, like scientist Zira and her fiancé Cornelius, he learns that this civilization believes apes evolved after the fall of a once great but sinful race, humans. In a legendary cinematic twist, Taylor escapes to the Forbidden Zone and finds the horrifying truth: this planet is Earth, destroyed by mankind's own hands in a nuclear war. The final scene, as Taylor collapses before the half-buried Statue of Liberty, is a chilling reminder of humanity's potential for self-destruction, making Planet of the Apes not just a sci-fi adventure, but a powerful warning in disguise. The Village. The Village is a haunting psychological thriller by M. Night Shyamalan that lures you into a quiet 19th-century village surrounded by dense woods and dark secrets. The people of Covington live in constant fear of mysterious creatures lurking beyond the forest borders, known only as those we don't speak of. The villagers believe a truce exists: if they don't enter the woods, the creatures won't enter their land. But when a tragedy strikes and medicine is needed from the outside world, a brave blind girl named Ivy Walker ventures into the forbidden forest, and what she discovers flips the story on its head. The terrifying creatures? A fabrication. The village itself? Not from the past, but hidden in modern times, founded by elders escaping the pain of the real world. The woods, the monsters, the rules, all created to keep their children safe from modern society. The Village isn't just a suspenseful tale of fear and isolation, it's a profound look at how trauma can drive people to build false realities, and how even the purest intentions can become cages when truth is buried too deep. Source Code. Source Code is a thrilling sci-fi mystery that plunges you into a race against time wrapped in a mind-bending loop. The story follows Captain Coulter Stevens, who wakes up in the body of an unknown man on a commuter train bound for Chicago, only to discover he's part of a secret government experiment called Source Code. His mission: relive the last 8 minutes of the train's journey over and over to find out who planted a deadly bomb before it detonates. Each repeat reveals new clues, forcing Stevens to piece together the mystery while struggling with his own fading sense of identity and the haunting question of whether he can change fate or escape his limited time loop. Source Code brilliantly combines high-stakes suspense with emotional depth, exploring themes of sacrifice, second chances, and what it truly means to be alive, all packed into a tight, adrenaline-fueled thriller that keeps you hooked until the very last second. Donnie Darko. Donnie Darko is a mind-bending cult classic that blends teen drama, psychological thriller, and sci-fi mystery into a surreal journey through time, fate, and mental illness. The story follows Donnie, a troubled high schooler who narrowly escapes death when a mysterious jet engine crashes into his bedroom. Haunted by visions of a creepy, ominous figure in a rabbit costume named Frank, Donnie begins experiencing strange phenomena, time loops, alternate realities, and cryptic warnings about the end of the world. As Donnie struggles to understand his place in this fractured reality, the film explores deep themes of destiny, sacrifice, and the fragile line between genius and madness. Donnie Darko challenges viewers to piece together its enigmatic clues and ultimately questions whether our lives are predetermined or if we have the power to change the future, all wrapped in a haunting, unforgettable atmosphere. Identity. Identity is a gripping psychological thriller that keeps you guessing until the very end, weaving together suspense, mystery, and mind games in a clever twist on the classic locked room scenario. The story unfolds during a violent rainstorm at a remote desert motel, where 10 strangers, including a cop, a prostitute, a corrupt cop, a limo driver, and others, are stranded. One by one, they begin to die in mysterious and brutal ways, and suspicion runs high as tensions escalate. But the real shock lies beneath the surface. These seemingly unrelated people are not all they seem. In a brilliant final reveal, it's uncovered that all the characters are actually multiple personalities living inside the fractured mind of a man on death row, and the killings represent his internal battle to survive and keep control. Identity is a masterful exploration of trauma, mental illness, and the fragile nature of identity itself, wrapped in a tightly paced thriller that twists reality in unexpected ways. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more awesome content. Let me know your thoughts or questions in the comments below. I love hearing from you. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.